Alright, welcome everybody to another video on the Extra Pass channel. As you can tell by the title of the video, that today I'm going to be talking about Mac Miller, who is my favorite artist, my favorite rapper, whatever you want to call it. As this video goes out, it'll be 4 years since he passed away on September 7th of 2018. So I'm just going to go through, talk about him raw, uncut, talk about like his discography, his how I got into him, how he helped me, how I just feel like he's just, underrated as one of my favorite people, I guess. So first I want to talk about how I got into Mac Miller. I'd probably say early 2011. One of my cousins was a fan of Mac Miller, and he was going into early 2011. I think I was in 6th grade, and so my cousin was in I think it was a freshman or sophomore in high school. And, that's when kids had already dropped, and it was kind of like the frat rap, and probably a lot of high schoolers, that's how they got into Mac Miller, because they're in high school living pretty much the same life that Mac Miller is talking about on his mixtape Kids, because I think that came out in 2010, and that's the year he graduated high school, and so he's probably talking about a lot of the same stories people were going through in their high school years. So I wasn't a fan of Kids when it came out, because that came out August 13, 2010. I was like in what was that? I think I might have started 5th grade. So the first time I remember hearing Mac Miller, I think, is The Best Day Ever. That was really a really popular song. I think I heard other songs, but I don't remember specifically. But yeah, I think maybe Best Day Ever. Then that came out. The mixtape came out on March 11, 2011. Just going on YouTube and just looking up songs. I was a big fan of music, and that's really pretty much all you could do back, because there was iTunes, and you have to pay for music to get on your phone. So if you had YouTube, like a laptop, or even the app on your phone on the old iPhones, that's how you'd be able to to listen to music. That's how I did. So there's a lot of hours just clicking the next video, and just discovering just new artists and stuff. So that 2011, that's when I became, I think, a fan, not a big fan of Mac Miller, but somewhat of a fan. Not only Mac Miller, but like Odd Future. I was probably more a fan of Odd Future back then. Back in 6th grade, I just thought they were so cool. All the stuff they were doing. Some of the stuff they were rapping about was kind of crazy, but I feel like, I don't know, I liked it a lot. It was something I never heard before, and the fact that I discovered it by myself, and my friend Robert would talk about it, and at school, and it'd be just I don't know, it's a new thing that my brother didn't know about. Older, I feel like we're the first people to really, I don't know about Odd Future and stuff like that. But that's beside the point. So yeah, Best Day Ever. I remember that was just a classic song. I want to say, okay, so Best Day Ever dropped. The mixtape dropped on March 11th, 2011. Then, I don't know, 2 weeks later, he dropped the On and Beyond EP, which is still to this day, that's one of my favorite things he's ever done. It's just super exciting, super upbeat. Mac Miller just the songs "Put It On," "Live Free," "On and On," "Life Ain't Easy," "In the Air," and "Another Night." Those are all just like super classics. And like back in 2011, like I was like a kid, young, like real young energy, and this Mac Miller was just hitting. It was fire. Still fire till this day. So then we go. I also want to say, from March 11th of 2011 to, let's just say, March 23rd of 2012, Mac Miller released three mixtapes, an EP, and his first album, Blue Slide Park. I just think that's like crazy. Like that man was really like, you could tell he liked doing music. He loved it, and I mean, he made really good music. All those mixtapes, EPs, and Blue Slide Park, I think are really good. I mean, I think it's impressive. He was like probably 18, 19 years old and making. You could just tell he was just dedicated. He wanted to make it, and he did. So he had a great work ethic, as you can just already tell. So, I Love Life, Thank You, released on October 14, 2011. I didn't know about that until a few years later. That's like, I don't know. I just didn't know about it really. So then he dropped Blue Slide Park, which I was a fan of. I mean, that was probably the last time Mac Miller would like rap like stuff like that, about partying, and he was a young kid, and I remember he getting a lot of flack for it. I remember when number one, I don't know on what like charts, but I remember when number one he was like unsigned. It was like the first person to do it in a long time, and I remember people not giving it like a good review, and I don't know. I feel like I liked it a lot. Like all the songs, like Blue Slide Park, Party on Fifth Ave, Pennsylvania Nights, Frick Park Market. I mean, I was playing all these songs in 7th grade. So, or 7th grade? Yeah, I think it was 7th grade. Yeah, it was 7th grade. I mean, Missed Calls. I mean, Up All Night, My Team, Under the Weather. I was playing all these songs just repeatedly. I think I got my first iPhone. What was that iPhone 3 or something like that, and I'd be listening to all these songs. I was a big fan of Blue Slide Park, and I'm specifically a real big fan of the song One Last Thing. That's the last song on the album. There's a YouTube video or music video, and like it's like all the music videos from that album combined, and like there's the one comment that says like this is like him saying goodbye to like his frat rap kind of character, and I thought that was always like a really like cool comment, because it kind of was like he didn't really rap about this stuff after this project. He was trying to expand his creativeness, and I think he did, but I think that was like a comment from like probably almost when the video came out. So I just thought that comment always really stuck with me. So Blue Slide Park, November 8, 2011. I mean, that's some good stuff right there. Then, let's see, 2012, he released one of my favorite mixtapes, Macadelic, on March 23rd. I mean, just straight classics on that. I remember Loud being one of my favorite. Play that song endlessly. Let's see what other songs were on there. Desperado, classic. Thoughts from a Balcony, I mean, super classic. Fight the Feeling with Kendrick Lamar. Lucky Ass Bitch with Juicy J. The Question with Lil Wayne. Clarity, Fuck 'Em All. I mean, all these songs are really just I don't even know how. I mean, this was just so different from Blue Slide Park, and it was just like I felt like he hit it right on the target. It was just all these songs are good, That's another thing with Mac Miller. I feel like a lot of he doesn't really have like mixed like projects that are like repetitive, like the ones he made before. Like he has a love album, he has a jazz EP, he has a dark mixtape with Delusional Thomas. Swimming's different, Circles is different, Good AM is different, Faces is different. So like I feel like that was always like when a Mac Miller project was coming out, you'd be like, oh shoot, what's he gonna be like on this new project? So I thought that was something I always looked forward to as a Mac Miller fan back then. So yeah, Macadelic, March 13, 2012. I was in 7th grade. Just Loud was super fire. And let's see, because I remember Mac Miller being on Ridiculousness. Let's see when this was. Okay, so that was February 21st, 2013. So at this point, I wouldn't say like a big Mac Miller fan, but I was a fan. I was still a fan of like Drake. I was a big fan of Drake back then. So Macadelic, March 23rd, 2012. Did he release anything else in 2012? He released his jazz project as Larry Levstein, called You, which I still think is underrated as well. I gotta be listening to that a lot. Let me see what my favorite songs are. Suspicions is really good. I like Love Affair. You is good. I mean, it's just so different. Like I didn't really listen to this back then, but like the past few years, like maybe like 2016, 17, like when I would be on the internet more with like iPhones and stuff and iPads, and you just be, going across the internet and just find things, and like I feel like the older you get with this one, it's like the more you understand it. So still one of my favorites. I mean, just so like, who else is like, I guess people are starting to do it where they're making like different types of albums, but like back then I feel like it wasn't like that common. Like Drake's making like singing albums now and stuff like that, but like back then, like this was 10 years ago, and he's making a jazz EP as a freaking alter ego. I think that's like super cool and super unique for what it was back then. So but I didn't, like, when that dropped, I probably had no idea. I was in 7th grade, or I was in 8th grade actually. Started 2012. I definitely had no idea. I was still listening to Macadelic and freaking Blue Side Park on repeat religiously. So he dropped the Run On Sentences Volume 1. That's just the instrumental, all the beats and stuff. I didn't really know about that either, honestly. But at this point, 8th grade is when I became like a real big fan, like the fan I am today. I mean, I tried to talk like Mac Miller. I try to just do like the same, like, I don't even know. Like, now I look back on it, it was kind of weird, corny, but I mean, I was like 12, 13, so I can't really blame me. He was one of my favorite rappers. I decided he was so cool back then. And talking like him, I remember like he came out with this show, Mac Miller and the Mosto Family, so the first episode aired on February 26, 2013, and before that he was on Ridiculousness, which I was a big fan of. Rob Dyrdek, I met him the year before, so when he was on there, like, oh shoot, Mac Miller's on this. He was being funny, whatever. Then his first episode of Mac Miller and the Mosto Family dropped. Man, the next year, that's when I became like a huge fan. I think I would watch those episodes a lot, record them, watch them over and over. I thought he was like so cool. The Man of the Next Year episode, classic. End of the World, classic. I don't know. This is what, like, because like I was a fan of like him being an artist, but I didn't know like really who he was, and I feel like this put you into his house and like made you learn more about him as a person and stuff, how funny he was, how cool he was with his friends, with regular people, how dedicated he was to his craft. He went back to Pittsburgh and stuff like that, and I just thought it was like I was fully invested at this point. I was in 8th grade, just trying to be like this guy. I remember I'd go to AAU practice or whatever, and I'd like all the people there would notice like I was a big fan of Mac Miller. I'd post him on my Instagram and stuff, and they'd make fun of me for it. Not like in like a bullying way, like, oh, you're trying to be like, oh, I'm Mac Miller, I'm Story, I'm Mac Miller, and like I never, it wasn't like a actual like making fun of me. It was just kind of like, I don't know, like banter, funny. I always thought it was funny. So 8th grade happens, or beginning 2013 happens, and then he drops Watch a Movie with the Sound Off on June 18, 2013, which at the time, like as a Mac Miller fan, I didn't know that he was like changing from the frat rap, the upbeat stuff, and this album's like more depressing. And at the like when I first listened to it, I was like, man, this album's like kind of garbage, because I wasn't like into like all that like non-rap Mac Miller. So as like a 13-year-old, I guess you can expect that from myself, not being a fan of like the slow down stuff. But now it's my favorite Mac Miller project to this date. So I guess that's shows you how like not versatile he is, but how like his longevity, like how endless his music is, I guess. So Watch a Movie with the Sound Off, I remember I downloaded he had a song called Goosebumps on there that was like more of a fast rap, so I liked that one. I liked Okay with Tyler the Creator a lot. Then I downloaded one other song. I think it was I Am Who I Am. That was the other one I liked when it first dropped. So I like 3 songs. So going into the rest of 2013, let's see what other projects he had. Stolen Youth. That was one I didn't really listen to at the beginning, but now it's pretty good. Delusional Thomas he dropped on Halloween of 2013, which I was a fan of one song when that dropped. It was called Bill with him and Earl Sweatshirt. But now I'm a fan of the whole thing. I listen to it a lot. It's really a dark project, which is, I think, is just interesting. Shout out to Delusional Thomas, RIP to him as well. So let's see. So this is my freshman year. I was still a big fan of Mac Miller. So that's 2013. Let's go to 2014. And that's when Faces dropped. Some would say this is one of the best mixtapes of all time. I would have to agree. It dropped on Mother's Day of 2014. I was a freshman. I think it might have been like or it had to be a Sunday, right? Sunday, Saturday, whatever. I remember playing Xbox and it dropped, and I went on my phone, and in order to download or listen to the mixtape, you had to make him a sandwich. Like you had to get bread on the website, drag the bread, then drag whatever toppings you want and submit it, then you'd be able to listen to the mixtape, which I thought was really interesting. I thought that's like super cool, something very unique. I remember like doing it, and like later that day, like I exited out of it, and I had to do it again, and it just got to the point where I was just making them just random sandwiches on the website. I thought it was funny, and I was like, I don't know, 14 at the time, so I thought it was pretty funny and like interesting. But Faces, I mean, talk about like, that's, people would probably say that's his best his best project. Just at the point, I was a fan of Happy Birthday. I was a big fan of Therapy. That was probably my favorite song at the time, was Therapy. Rap Diablos, that's a classic. I was a fan of San Francisco as well, but now I'm a fan of pretty much all these songs. I mean, New Faces, Apparition, Grand Finale is good. Uber, I was a fan of Insomniac back then. Ave Maria, Wedding, Happy Birthday. I mean, I'm a huge fan of this mixtape. I mean, it's just endless. It's like people say this is his best, and he says that's probably the darkest times. He didn't leave the studio and stuff, which produced his best music, which is kind of good, but it's kind of sad at the same time. But like he said, like I think he said, like it's art, it's beautiful, it's dark and depressing, but it's also beautiful at the same time, which I'd have to agree. I mean, it's such a good mixtape, and you know, it's probably my second favorite Mac Miller project behind watching movies. So then after that, actually I think season 2 of Mac Miller and the Most of Family dropped in 2014. The summer of 2014, I'm still watching all these episodes. I was a big fan, obviously. So then we go, I think that was his only project of 2014 was Faces. Yeah, he didn't drop an album in 2014, he dropped Faces. But like with these albums, he says he had so much unreleased music, and like, hopefully that comes out. But if it doesn't, you know, it's whatever. I have some of it, but I don't think nearly as close as how much there is. So I best believe like 2014 after Faces, he didn't stop making music, and there's probably thousands of songs somewhere on a laptop in somebody's house of his, like if his like families or something. So it's somewhere, but another thing, backtracking to his first when the show came out in 2013, just a quick flashback. At the beginning of the show, he had this song, like a snippet, like when the show started, and like it was called Euphoria, and I didn't know what it was called until, I don't know, a few years ago. And I always looked for that song on the internet, and I could never find it. And finally, I tweeted at one of his best friends. His name's Q, or that's what he calls him, but his name's Quinn. I was like, when is this ever gonna like be released? And he said that Kanye bought the beat before they could finish the song. And so now I just have this 30-second snippet from 10 years ago that I'll never be able to hear the real song because it'll never be finished. So that sucks. But all right, going on to 2015, he dropped, let's see, I think it was Good AM. On September 18th, 2015, he dropped Good AM. I remember this specifically because my friend Trey invited me, my friend Roman, and Robert to go to Magic Mountain for his birthday. And I remember I downloaded it. So it came out Thursday night. I downloaded it on Friday. And went to Magic Mountain on Saturday morning. And I listened to it the whole car drive. I don't know how long that car drive is, but probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours. And I just listened to this project front and back however many times that whole weekend. And I instantly fell in love with it. It was more of that upbeat Mac Miller that I fell in love with in the 4 years prior in 2011. But it was more not about like frat rap partying, more of this about his partying as he did in 2015. More a little bit darker about other things he indulged in. But I was a fan of it, of the music and stuff, so. And he has some slow songs on there. I mean, RS was one of my favorite songs. I think that's one of his best songs. Then he also has obvious songs like Perfect Circle / Godspeed, which he pretty much predicts his death, which became popular after he died because it's just crazy how he talks about it. But He had features with Chief Keef on here. I mean, Miguel, Absol. Just not one miss on this whole project, in my opinion. I don't think he's missed on any of these projects, really. Like, I don't think he probably has a bad song from like 2009, 2008 when he was like just rapping about like this weed and stuff. He was like a junior or sophomore in high school. And those songs are probably just bad, but from Kids 2010 to like to this date, I don't think he has one bad song. I think that's people are slowly finding that out. Like I say on Twitter that like somebody tweeted like Mac Miller really does have a bad song, got like a lot of favorites and retweets. I'm like, yeah, I've been saying this. I mean, it's so underrated in my opinion. So, Good AM happens, 2015. I feel like this is when a lot of people that became a fan of Mac Miller from the frat rap kind of went away from Mac Miller, because like, I mean, that was so popular. They all graduated high school now. When watching movies drop, they probably didn't like it because it wasn't party music. And like, this is when I feel like I became like a real fan. I mean, I stuck with Mac Miller through all these projects, just raving about him, telling people to listen. People wouldn't. But yeah, I was still listening to him. I was there listening to him 24/7 pretty much. All right. And I'll also post every time he drops like a mixtape or a album. I'll drop a picture on Instagram saying like Mac Miller season. I was just so hyped and stuff. I know I'm ranting, but I don't really care. So the next album he drops, or I think his mixtapes are done at this point. He dropped Running Out Sentences 2, which is another just beat album or mixtape by Larry Fisherman. I mean, just a underrated producer as well. He dropped that in 2015. Just good beats. Oh, backtrack to 2013. He dropped Live from Space. That was his live album. And also had some good songs. I mean, Egg Isle, Earth, The Future. I think Black Bush is really, Life is good. Black Bush, In the Morning with Sid the Kid. I mean, those are all that he hasn't missed on this project either. So, all right, back to what I was talking about. 2016 comes and he drops a Divine Feminine about a year later from after Good AM. And I think he said like with these albums, I don't know if it was Divine Feminine or Good AM, but he said he had 9 other albums that he could have like dropped with these. And the one with the Divine Feminine, he had I don't know if he was going to drop this with this project, but it was called Pink Slime. I think that's what it was called. He had with Pharrell, he had an album that's unreleased. Yeah, it's called Pink Slime. It's an album with him and Pharrell that they did together that probably it hasn't been released, probably will never be released, but he did that. That's probably with Divine Feminine, I think, if I think correctly. Then when this album dropped, I was a big fan of it as well. The Divine Feminine. I still have a picture of it on my Instagram. I thought Dang was really good at the time. Cinderella, my favorite part. Those were probably my 3 favorite songs at the time. But now, I mean, I'm a fan of the whole project. Cinderella, Stay, Skin, Dang, Planet Goddamn, Soulmates, my favorite one on the project. God is Fair, Sexy Nasty, that's really good. These are all like really good songs in my opinion, and it's just different. If you like, whenever you're in a certain mood, I feel like there's always a song, like a Mac Miller song for whatever mood you're in, and I just think that's super cool. I mean, the Divine Feminine is like, I think a really good love album, a really good album in general, and yeah. So 2017, he didn't drop anything. That's when I feel like more people even like fell off of Mac Miller, wasn't a fan. I mean, all we had was music from a year ago, and Um, I can't blame people, but I feel like there's so much music he had previously dropped that no one really heard about, or no one knew about that much, that I feel like you could still be a fan, like how I was. Like I think I discovered the I Love Life Thank You mixtape around this time. I listened to Kids around this time. The High Life. More of the Delusional Thomas. This is when I was getting into like deeper Mac Miller, like the mixtapes and stuff, the EPs, and because there was so much more that I had to discover. So then, 2018, he drops. I don't know if it was an EP, but it was like the singles before Swimming drop. I forgot what it was called, but let me see if I have the songs on my phone. I don't know what it was called. Oh, he had Buttons that dropped. Then he had two more from Swimming. I think one was Small Worlds. He dropped that one as well. Then there's one more I have on here somewhere. Oh, Programs. He dropped these three songs, I think maybe like June of 2018. Then he also dropped Self Care around that time too, because I remember going camping and I was just in love with that song. I mean, knew Mac Miller after almost 2 years. I was begging for it at that point. So then he dropped his last album, Alive, on August 3rd, 2018, called Swimming. I remember that night that came out, and Astroworld came out from Travis Scott. And I remember saying to somebody, I was like, oh, did you listen to the Mac Miller album? And that person said, oh, no one listens to Mac Miller anymore, he's trash or whatever. I was like, damn. Like, okay, so because when I listened to the album the first time, I was like, this might be his best project ever. Like, all those songs were just fire, and it wasn't the rap Mac Miller that people like. So I guess I can understand, or not really understand, that people didn't like it. They weren't used to this, but I liked it. So about a month later, September 7th, 2018, he was found dead in his house in, I think, Studio City. Overdosed. I think it was, his drugs were laced with fentanyl. And it's kind of sad because not in self-care, but in Swimming, he's talking about how he's starting to swim again. Like, he's not drowning. He's starting to find himself. He's starting to get out of his depression. And in all honesty, it was just false, because he was still having problems with it. So that's the kind of sad part about it that I think about a lot. But yeah, September 7th, I remember I was working at Soups and Scoops, which is a deli / ice cream shop in Old Town Clovis, with my grandma, and it was a Friday. And I remember my phone just buzzing a lot. Like, I was like, what? Like, I didn't think anything was going on. I remember people were calling me, Snapchatting me, texting me, mom texting me, brother, random people that I went to high school with, that I graduated high school a year and a half before this. So I was like, one of my friends was calling me. I asked my grandma, I was like, can I answer this? She's like, no, we're at work. I was like, all right, yeah, it's true. So I think it was like around, I got off at 3. I worked from 11 to 3. It was like 2:45. I was like, I'm going to go use the restroom. Went in the restroom, looked at my phone, and that's when I found out that he passed away. And I remember my jaw just dropping. Like, it was something like I hadn't really felt. Because I don't know, I've had people pass away in my life, and but something like that impactful, it was I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of tough. Oh man, it was crazy. So I remember my friend Robert texting me, my friend Preston, DeMarcus, Roman Quijada, Roman, my brother, my mom. I was like, that was shook. I'm not gonna lie. But like, I don't know. Then that's when I feel like a lot of like fake fans came out saying, "Oh yeah, I liked my Mac Miller way back in 2010 when he dropped Kids." And it's like, yeah, but you haven't liked him since, so I guess you were a fan, but like not like an actual like fan. People were like grieving and stuff. I'm like, bro, you guys weren't even. A month ago, you were saying you thought it was trash and didn't want to listen to Swimming, so that happened. Just sadness listening to him. I mean, that year he was my most listened to artist. I don't know how many years in the past, like since I've been a fan of him, where he's my most listened to artist. It's probably majority. I know this year he is. Last year it was Lil Peep, but before that it was probably him the whole time. So I don't know. Sad day. I was shook. To this day, that was probably one of the toughest days. Like I feel like I was just stuck. Cause I feel like that was probably the toughest day of my life. I'm not even like gonna cap. Cause like my grandpa died. I mean, he lived a long life. He was always in my life. You know, he lived a long life. He impacted a lot of people's lives. When Kobe died, same thing. He lived 41 years. Impacted millions, not billions, people's lives. And with Mac Miller, I mean, he died at 26. Like that was the thing that sticks with me still. Like he had so much more life to live. Like he was so much more. Like his mind was so ahead of his age. I feel like Swimming is not a rap album. It's like art, in my opinion. Super like, I don't know, super like deep, creative. So that's the thing that still sticks with me. Like right now, he'd be 30 barely. He'd probably drop so much more like great music. So yeah, that was a tough day. But the thing that's good about like artists and like rappers or rappers in general is like pretty much he's gonna live on forever because his music. I mean, I'm listening to it right now. I've been listening to it for the past. I mean, since the day he died. I mean, I haven't stopped listening to his music. So I guess that's one thing that's good. I mean, I've watched so many interviews, so many music videos, listened to so many songs. Rewatched the TV show back a few times. I found a Google Drive of it and just rewatched it. So yeah, Swimming is a good project. I mean, not a bad song on here as well. So then about a year and a half later, January 17th, he drops Circles, which is a really good album as well. His camp said that he's going to drop 3 albums. Swimming, which is kind of rap, kind of slow album. Then Circles was kind of a slow album, and then he was going to drop a 3rd album, which is going to be just rap. And he never really got into it before he died. So Circles is the last project that we've gotten. I mean, it's been 2.5 years. It might be the last one. I don't know if his family will ever, out of respect for him, will ever release like more projects. Because if he didn't release them, he probably didn't want them released. But I think eventually, when he would get older, he'd probably release more as fans would ask. So 2020, that's when I dove into finding unreleased Mac Miller songs, because I listened to all his music so much. I'm like, I know there's more, and I'm just gonna see if I can get access to it. So I don't know like when it was, but I would look up Mac Miller unreleased songs on YouTube and download them to my computer. But one time I found a Google Drive of like 400 Mac Miller, maybe not 400, maybe like 250 Mac Miller songs unreleased, like mixtapes, EPs, and I mean I downloaded every song single-handedly. I mean, like he had a whole album called Balloonerism from 2013. I'm a big fan of this project. Stoned is good, Funny Papers is good, Mannequins is good, He Finally Sleeps, I mean Bob's Dementia is good, Tomorrow We'll Never Know. All these songs are like good, and I knew this was a project, but I didn't know like people had access to it like this. So I mean I downloaded that instantly. I downloaded an EP he had called The Adventures of Super Weirdo, which was another one of his alter egos. Some good songs on there. I downloaded I don't know if it's the album or a mixtape. It's called Black Friday. It's him like rapping on like the radio and stuff, which this is pretty good as well. I like the Stick Up's pretty good. Successful. I think it's probably the best one and my favorite on that, I guess, mixtape. I also listened to By My Mac and Ain't Easy when he was Easy Mac. I think that's from like 2007 or something. I think there's a lot of good songs on this one as well. Jay's On My Feet's good. Get Mines is good. Cruise. Those are probably my favorite ones. So then, what other? He has the one called Dog Pound. I think that might just be a song with him and Waka Flocka. That's a pretty good song. He has songs like Goodbye, like all of his SoundCloud songs. Goodbye, He Who Ate All the Caviar. Just some raps, Nothing to See Here. Lua's really good. Erica's House is a funny song. Day One, a song about nothing's probably one of my favorite unreleased ones that I think that might have been on SoundCloud, so that's been one of my favorite. Baby It's Cold Outside, that's just a remake of like one of the, like the Christmas songs or whatever. That's a good song. Vienna's good. Pet Sounds is good. But then he had like unreleased songs of like I found I don't know if it's a Google Doc of unreleased songs of when they were made. So like I have 2 songs from Blue Side Park that he dropped in 2011 called 2 songs that didn't make the album called The Cool Out and One Night. Good songs. I really went deep into like this search of finding new Mac Miller songs. So watching movie with the sound off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 unreleased songs from that era that I'm a fan of. Pretty much all these songs. The Sunroof's good. TV's good. Euphoria. Oh Captain, My Dragon's good. So, let's see. He had one called Maclib. That's another mixtape that didn't really get released. Pink Slime, I have some songs from that. Those are pretty good songs. Your Shoes Are Untied. That's another one of his mixtapes. That's those songs are really good as well. He has a song with Lil Wayne. Then I found some unreleased songs from the Faces era. I think that's probably the most unreleased ones I have. There's this song called 821 that I listen to a lot. And when they released Faces to streaming services this year, that was the extra song on there, so I kind of already knew it. Actually, I didn't kind of already know. I did already know pretty much all the words. So I think I don't know if that like kills it for me, because I've been waiting. I'm like, oh, shoot, a new Mac Miller song, but I've already been listening to it for years. So it's kind of the plus and pros and cons of listening to unreleased music, but I'm a fan of him, so I'm gonna keep listening to it, I guess. But Probably my. Then he had another mixtape called Guidelines, which this song or this mixtape's pretty good. I like Holidays. It's probably my favorite song. Problem's good. Sunday's good as well. The High Life, his other mixtape in 2009. These are just. I like some of these songs as well. Travel Man '09 is probably my favorite one. Musical Chairs is good. It's probably my favorite ones. But my favorite unreleased like kind of album or songs from an album is the Good AM era. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 unreleased songs from the Good AM era, and I listen to these songs a lot. Like Pure is probably one of my favorite Mac Miller songs. Oracle's good. Merry-Go-Round and Kindergarten, 25-8. I mean, all these songs are just so fire in my opinion. So, what other ones do I have? I think I have some off of Swimming, which are also some of my favorites. Let's see. Yep. I have Inertia, which is his freestyle before he dropped his album. Submarines that's one of his best songs in my opinion ever. Then I have some final ones off of Circles, which are Empires is really good. G-Wagon's super good, and The River is probably one of my favorite. Probably on Circles, it's probably like a top 3 song for me if it was on the on the album. So yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I have to say. I went through like a lot of his mixtapes, a lot of his albums, and it's just crazy. It's been 4 years, and I hope one day I get to go like Pittsburgh and see all like the stuff, like Mac Miller stuff there, Blueside Park, Frick Park Market. I don't know. He was just my favorite artist by far, and I feel like it shows. I've been a fan every year, every mixtape, every album, every EP. Alive, he dies, I'm still listening to him 150 hours a year. I don't know. I just wanted to make this video, and people might not watch it, listen to it, but I honestly don't care, because I feel like he's not one of my favorite, but he is my favorite artist, one of my favorite people. Wasn't even close to meeting him. So, but I felt like I met him because I was just a fan for so long, watched all of his stuff, listened to all of his things, and yeah, R.I.P. to him. GOAT. Everybody knows I like this. This is my favorite guy, and it sucks that he's gone, but got to move on and just keep listening to his music, I guess. That's all you can really do. And yeah, 40 minutes into this, so if you enjoyed, subscribe, like, share, comment, whatever. And last but not least, R.I.P. to Mac Miller. Peace out.